Okay, welcome everyone. I will call to order this meeting of the Somerset Berkeley Regional School Committee at 6:01 p.m. Due notice having been posted. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions may be made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. We'll do a roll call of members present. Ms. Ferreira? Here. Ms. Ashley? Present. Mr. Fenstermaker? Here. Mr. Machado?
Present.
Ms. Solomon?
Here.
Mr. Vieira?
Here.
And also with us this evening, our Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Jeffrey Schoonover, our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Raquel Pellerin, our Recording Secretary, Robin Vaccaro, and the Chair is also present. If you're able, let's stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Actually, I'd ask if everyone could please remain standing. I'd like for us all to take a moment to recognize and remember our beloved engineering and technology teacher, Mr. Joseph Ramos. Thank you. Please note that the next regularly scheduled meeting of this committee will be held on Tuesday, January 14th, 2025 at 6 p.m. here in the Somerset Berkeley Regional High School Library. The first item on the agenda this evening under Student Teaching and Learning is the report of our esteemed student rep, Ryan Vieira.
Good evening, everyone. So I don't have too much for this month, but we'll touch on a few things. So regarding sports, winter sports are now in full swing. So teams, I'm sure as you saw coming in today, everybody's here, everybody's participating. So winter sports have already started many of their competitions. So boys basketball have a game tonight at New Bedford. Girls, obviously here versus New Bedford. And then the track, both for boys and girls, have a competition today at Seekonk. And then for tomorrow, boys hockey will have a competition, and wrestling will also have a competition tomorrow. Also, the Performing Arts Group have been working hard to prepare for their winter concert, which is tonight, and their holiday show, which happened last weekend. And then this was from last month, but regarding academics, so last month the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship Breakfast was held. So that was for students who scored an exceeding expectations on their MCAS in years past, and they received a scholarship to any of the UMass schools or to Massachusetts state schools. I think that is all I have for today. I hope everyone has a happy, healthy, and restful holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2 more wake-ups?
2 or 3. 2 or 3.
Oh, today's Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday.
All right, everybody take Friday off.
3 more.
Math is never my strong suit. Thanks, Ryan. The next item on the agenda is recognition of our November visionaries. They are Margaret Arena, Respectful; Ryan Crook, Independent; Brooke Fisher, Independent; Isabel Gomes, Digital Citizen; Aiden Lambert, Empathetic; Dylan Morse, Digital Citizen; Hayden Teasdale, Resilient; and Owen Thomas, Academics. Congratulations to those students for that achievement. The next item on the agenda is the recap of the November 21st open house.
Okay. So Dr. Brailsford told me that there were over 250 participants that night. She said it was the best attended open house night that we've had in years. We had our content coordinators and some student representatives speak to the students and their families. Then they provided tours of the building to the students who were here. And there were also opportunities for one-to-one conversations with guidance counselors, staff members who were here, content coordinators, in case anyone had some questions. So Dr. Brailsford spoke very highly of it. It was well attended, and we'll, I'm sure, always tweak and see how we can make things better for the next year. But it was a very successful event.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, the next item on the agenda under new business is discussion and action on salary increase for the regional school district treasurer. You have in your folder a copy of the treasurer's contract, which was, it's been just about exactly a year. It was signed on last December 19th. So what are the wishes of the committee?
Do we remember what we budgeted for? I thought we placed a little percentage on there.
There was a placeholder collaboratively. We did make adjustments into different line items. I'm not sure the total amount, but there is still some residual left in the contingency line.
I'm just wondering, obviously this is something that the treasurer reports to the school committee, but I believe she works very closely with the administration. So I'm just wondering, can you provide some feedback to us? I know usually the superintendent makes a recommendation and we take that under advisement, and we usually either yes, no, increase, decrease, or whatever the case may be. So I'm just wondering, since the team works closely with her, what feedback can you provide us?
I've met with her. We're going to meet monthly, really collaborative. We're looking at ways to create more efficiencies by really utilizing the financial system. That's been my experience, really collaborative and really wanting to move things forward. I've had conversations with her early in the morning and late at night, so she's always available and always willing to collaborate with us and give her opinion. We recently had a webinar which she attended, and it was really about our financial system, and we're looking forward to bringing forward really new collaborative reporting and introducing accounts receivable, a new way of billing out. So those are the examples that we have that are our collaborations and efficiencies and how we want to move the district forward.
And I'm just wondering, what has been the median percentage for this district and also for community districts around? Because I kind of want to be fair to her.
So for positions, just generally for increases this year, I think between the STA contracts and others that were settled and accordingly then administrators, probably about a 3.5% increase was, I'd say, probably an average. Some more, some less.
So now this is my small opinion. When you hear 3.5%, you think of a huge salary. I've been traveling, so I did not look at the contract, but by memory, I think the position is like 24, 23, 26,000, something like that, 23,000. So I feel comfortable with 3.5%, 4% because of the small number. And it seems like that's the average of all the districts, of all the contracts that we've settled. So, but unfortunately, I'm just going based on the feedback. I'm not working, so that would be my advice, but I'm open to anyone's opinion.
Anyone else in the committee have any thoughts on this?
The contract says that the anticipated hours are between 8 to 10 hours per week. Is that pretty consistent in what she does, or does she do more than that?
Well, those are her standard hours.
Yeah.
She'll collaborate with us whenever we need her to. Mostly she's reconciling bank statements and really dealing with the cash part of it. So we're dealing with kind of the general ledger part of it, and that's how we're collaborating. She is off-site, but I do see her quite often.
Yeah, I'll tend to bump into her late afternoon, early evening, if she's coming in for a few minutes to get something. Sunday afternoon, I was in the office, and she popped in. It was probably 5 p.m. or so. She was there for a short time and left. So her comings and goings typically don't line up with the standard workday, just because of her own her schedule and other responsibilities. But I would say that she is fulfilling the hours that are listed there.
I would just add in, I think it's important to compensate people who are doing the work well, reliably. I think this is an important position. And it's not always easy to fill part-time positions, so if we can compensate the person who's doing the work diligently and effectively and collaborating with our administration, I think they deserve, at least the average raise that, is comparable with what is given out, what has been given out recently in the region, so.
Do we have a motion?
I'm not even going to ask if our budget can afford $920, because if the answer is no, I would have a heart attack. So I'm not even going to ask the question like I normally would. I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to give our treasurer a 4% raise. Which is a total of $920, based on the feedback that we received from our administration.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there anything else on discussion? All right, hearing none, take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Thank you, everyone. The next item on the agenda. I'm pausing. The next item on the agenda is I regret to announce that we've received the resignation of our fellow committee member, Mr. Richard Fenstermaker, which would be effective as of the end of this year, December 31st, 2024. I think you all have a copy of Rich's letter in which he thanks everyone for the work that we've done as a team, and is looking forward to spending more time with his lovely wife Claire and grandchildren. Two here, one on the way. One on the way. So I just want to say, he's sitting here at my right hand for a reason.
You got pies?
I've not served with Rich as long as some other folks here at this table have, but I can say that he has been a tremendous colleague and mentor. I would not be chair without him, and all of the advice that he's given and support and wisdom. The other thing I think is that I think it's been 15 years that Rich has served as a member of the regional school committee.
That's kind of,
Around there?
yeah, around there, and then the high school building project piece, and then some, just Somerset before the. So
You get
it's been a
double
good run.
time.
Good run.
For building committee gets you double years. Did you know?
Yeah. Well, I just want to say that, this is, I've been doing this for a long time, and I really do enjoy it. And this is the way I don't let her read that first than me, because it's a big adjustment for me. But I'm very happy with, the work we've been able to do here as a team, really. And we've really got some good folks here, and that's why I feel comfortable, is because I know we have good people and filling my slot easy. So, but anyway, that's all I really have. Is my wife retired last year. I've been retired, and now we're very good at watching young babies or their dogs. So anyway, I want to thank everyone that I've had to work for. It's been a pleasure, really, and I think our group together is stronger and I think more. I'm not sure what the word is going to be, professional per se, than a lot of other organizations. So I'm happy to leave on one point, but on the other side, I've got those babies waiting out there for me to come visit. So.
Matt, if I could just say, this is like deja vu because back in, I think it was 2010 or 11, I got to meet Mr. Fenstermaker in 2006 when I was elected, and no disrespect to anyone who's sitting on this board, but I always say my dream team was my original 4 members with myself. I really learned a lot from those 4. I don't think I would have served as long as I have if it wasn't for someone like Mr. Fenstermaker, because he never took any arguments personal, but yet if I received many phone calls saying, hey, you really disappointed me, you really upset me, on that. And it was like, we spoke about it, I apologize, or whatever the case may be. But he was one of those members that would pick up the phone and literally will say to you, listen, it's been a month, but now I have to get this off my chest. But the most important part about Mr. Fenstermaker serving on the board, he is here for the right reason. It's hard to believe that my daughter's babysitters now has kids of their own, and now that's one of the reasons, because that's how, even when we were looking for a babysitter, the Fenstermaker family, their love for family life, it's just a great thing, and you can see it again, and this is one of the reasons why it's all about family, and that's why he's leaving something that he really cares. I don't think he's leaving. If we have any questions, we will always call him, because institutional knowledge is very important, but it is bittersweet. So I know him and the original 4 made me a better school committee member, where I wasn't as gung-ho, but yeah, I advocate, and it was because I learned it from him. So it's very disappointed to see that he's leaving, but I'm feeling great for the reason why he's leaving, because I think that's the right decision. It goes back to what his beliefs are. And, and the other thing is, I also want to thank Claire for all the years that she allowed us to have him, because we forget that, many times when we're here, we're not with our families. So thank you to you, and also thank you to Claire and your family for allowing us to have you as long as we have. And you definitely are leaving this district in a better place than where you found it. So.
Thank you.
I think we will at a future meeting, in the very near future, plan a time to fully and completely embarrass you with all the bells and whistles that you.
So we're gonna stand up and everything.
We're gonna stand up, we're gonna take pictures, but so you're not off the hook just yet. We will do
Always
that.
available.
I just want to echo Victor's sentiments that I think that in a world where folks are often motivated by all sorts of agenda, and where things are fraught and contentious and blusterous a lot of the time, what I think of the many things I appreciate about you, Rich, is just that you are a principled gentleman, always. And that is harder and harder to come by, and we may be able to fill your seat, but we will not easily fill your shoes, that's for sure. So, thank you for everything.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept with deep regret the resignation of Mr. Richard Fenstermaker.
So
don't
moved.
accept.
There, no, there,
Oh, I can second that.
I will second it. Victor moved
Want to
it.
get another meeting in before?
I know, we can kick this can down the road, you know. I don't know if we need an official vote, but we'll do one. So we have a motion and a second. All those regretfully in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So, we'll see you in January. Okay. Promised him that we'd get him out of here early on this last meeting, so we're gonna keep moving. The next item on the agenda this evening is a staffing update. Mr. Schoonover.
Sure, we have one appointment. Daniel Lazat is a new HVAC technician. And this is, I'll just take a second here for this one. This is a shared position with the Somerset Public Schools. For the last 12 or so years, we've had a single HVAC employee. And most of his time, even though he's had the 5 schools, most of his time has been designated to Somerset Berkeley, just because of the high-tech nature of the systems that are here. It's a building like this actually requires more time than for buildings with mostly antiquated systems. With the new middle school that came on, we knew that we were going to need some extra HVAC support. I can't recall if during the budgeting process this past year, if we were talking about this position at the Somerset Berkeley level. We were at Somerset, but because Somerset, with the middle school that came on board, Dylan, who is our original senior member, HVAC employee, he's really is splitting his time more evenly between these schools, with also caring for the 3 elementaries. So Daniel is now on as sort of a junior HVAC or HVAC technician, working with Dylan. So part of his time is also devoted to Somerset Berkeley. I just can't recall, as I said, last year in the budgeting process, if we really talked about that position, but, so I think, do you recall what the breakdown of salary is?
I think it's 65, 35, the percentage.
Yeah. So we can get you that information just so you can see. But anyway, I just wanted to call that out because like I said, couldn't recall in the past. And then we do have one resignation there as a food service worker.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda under unfinished business is discussion on the increased audio accessibility for meeting participants.
Okay, so as we've had this discussion now at the past several meetings, mostly due to the poor audio quality when someone is participating on Zoom. But we've also, anyone who's been here in this room enough, and we know once we hear those vents kick on, probably relatively soon and throughout the winter, it does drown out the sound, and noise is certainly an issue, or the volume is certainly an issue when it comes to this building, to this room. As you can see, the library has been undergoing some changes. Our librarian media center specialist, Mrs. Andresen, has been working in here, producing some maker spaces and for students, and making it more interactive for kids. So we had been discussing which corner of the media center we would hold for school committee meetings. We were considering that one, but we're going to maintain it here due to the extra space that we have for an audience. With that said, Mr. Levesque has been looking for an audio system. So he is currently looking at getting wireless mics for here, probably about 12 or so. So when there is a joint meeting, we'll have enough microphones, not just for the school committee members, for us, and for other boards or committees who may be here. With that, he's looking to have a sound system installed so that the wireless mics can connect. So we're not constantly having to move speakers and amps out. It's a better way of doing it. So he's exploring that. He has a couple of options he's looking at. He's trying to get some quotes. But just so you know, that's where he's thinking, and similarly, he's looking to do something for Somerset Middle School as well. But once we get some more information, I'll share that with you all.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions at this time? The next item on the agenda is an update on the baseball field improvement project timeline.
Okay. Earlier this month, I received an email from our vendor, and they had filed a stormwater permit application with the planning board. The planning board's normal December meeting would have fallen on Christmas Eve, so it's not happening then. So our item is on the public hearing, the planning board's public hearing for January 14th. I think it's the same, we have a school committee meeting that night? So it's at the same time as our next meeting. So there is really a 2-week delay because of that getting pushed out. So now the bid documents will go out the end of January, early February. It was originally planned for January 13th. And a bid opening, which would be the end of February, early March. So that slight delay with that public hearing is just pushing it out 2 weeks, but it really shouldn't present many problems. Okay.
Any questions?
Any school committee members need to be at that meeting?
I'm going to ask them if they need anything from us there, our presence. I'll let you know.
Because I have one of our resignees that are just leaving. He's a former planning board member too, so.
No, thank you.
I tried, guys, I tried.
That runs a lot different than this.
Okay, great. The next item on the agenda is the discussion and possible action on funding for a capital plan.
You're gonna make it. I gave him water, but it's still not working. We put him over at the table.
I think I think Mr. Machado wanted this item on the agenda, so
Awesome.
we can circle back.
Okay.
When we do that.
Go catch his phone.
Yeah, we'll give him a moment. So why don't we pause that for now and move ahead to the next item under business and financial, which would be the November financial statement. Ms. Pellerin.
The budget amendments that were approved at the prior meeting have been posted, are reflected also in our monthly financials. Happy to say that all our federal grants have been approved, so now we're looking at making the adjustments that were in general fund to the grants. We'll bring that forward at the January meeting. And we do just want to make a note that we're also looking at the coding, so we may have some corrections there. We'll bring that back, like I said, at the January meeting.
Did anyone have any questions on the November statement? Things look good. No surprises? Always good. All right. The next item on the agenda are the Berkeley and Somerset Public Schools updates. Ms. Solomon, do you want to go first with Berkeley?
Yeah, well, we're always easy, but we didn't, with the scheduling conflict, we didn't end up having a December meeting, so I don't have anything to report from a December meeting. I'm sure it's old news now, but I don't think I've been here since the election and us getting the approval from the town for our new community school. So that passed the second part. We are running some focus groups that will bring in the public and their input in things like safety and security and the look of the building and kind of what the community wants to see in the building. So we have focus groups scheduled through, I think they're through February right now. But that's where we are in that process. Something like that.
I'll just add, Ms. Solomon's too modest to say so I'll say for her that speaking of folks on building committees, She was a driving force behind the building project committee, and the election, it was sort of close-ish.
It was stressful.
Town meeting-
It was stressful.
Town meeting was pretty resounding, I would say, in
Yes,
support.
the lead up, the lead up was a little, who knew? But people came out and it seemed resounding support, so that felt really great. As part of the committee and just school committee and part of the town, it's gonna be what it's gonna do for, we obviously need the building, but what it's gonna do for the kids, the teachers, the staff, education in Berkeley, it's just, we're very excited to have it happen. So, which I'm sure you guys can relate.
Thank you for all your work on that.
And congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats not only to you and your team, but also the citizens of Berkeley for making the right decision.
Yes.
So congrats to them. No one likes to open up their wallet, but when I saw it on Facebook, I was extremely, and also your text, I believe, just as an FYI, I think, especially all the hard work, you all enjoy the holidays because it's the next 10 years, that's what it's going to be. So,
Yeah. 30. Very 30.
30?
Yeah. So that's all right.
And take these to those.
Oh, yes. No, 2027. Listen, 2027.
Yeah, I know, 4 more years after that.
Mr. Schoonover, did you want to say something about?
I did. Mrs. Solomon, if you could extend to your committee the sincere gratitude from Somerset Berkeley following the news of Mr. Ramos on that Thursday evening. We made the decision to delay school by a couple of hours for students when we brought staff in. I put a call out to area superintendents just asking, if anyone had some, just seeking advice on a couple of levels there. But Superintendent Ryan was quick to offer staff. We had 3 of your counselors, Berkeley's counselors here, along with Mrs. Hebert. The counselors spent a good part of the day with us, first meeting with staff in this room, and then available for students once they came in, if anyone needed them. Mrs. Hebert stayed the entire day, and she was Dr. Brailsford's right-hand person that day. So just, it made a tough day better, and I really sincerely can't thank Berkeley enough for that support. So if you could extend that, and I said to you earlier, if I could make it to a Berkeley School Committee meeting and public input, thank them directly, I will. But in the meantime, it's really appreciated.
I'll be happy to extend that.
Okay.
I'm glad, knowing the 2 of them, it's true to form that that's who they would be.
Right.
And I'm glad they were able to be here to support you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, updates from Somerset Public Schools?
Me too, okay. I pulled up the agenda because I couldn't remember. So, it's been a couple weeks. We discussed funding for the SBR Accelerated Repair Program for our window projects at the remaining elementary schools. We talked about whether or not we were gonna have some articles for town meeting. We talked about the new apartment complexes that are going up on JAR Highway, talking about potential for additional students. What else did we talk about? Staffing. We got an update on our window project that is ongoing now at Chase. Some hopefully good news that we actually have glass to go in the windows, so we will have them in over the Christmas break. And then we talked about our capital plan. And I think that's it, unless I missed anything.
Only one other
Oh, what did I
tidbit.
miss?
We had our first meeting at the new Somerset.
Oh,
Middle
yes, we
School
did,
Community
yes,
Center.
yeah, yep, yes, we did, which was. Bless you.
Bless you.
See what you
Mr. Austin said the sound was.
You're next.
He wants us to
I wasn't on that flight.
I'm gonna move closer to Jen.
All right, great, thank you, everyone. Okay, Next item, topics not anticipated by the chair. The only thing on this I think I would add in reference to Mr. Fenstermaker's stepping down would be Mr. Fenstermaker is on the budget subcommittee, along with myself and Ms. Ferreira. So if there's anyone, it would be a Somerset rep. If there's anyone who wants to step into that, especially as we enter budget season, maybe just communicate that to Robin and have a discussion about it. But we could proceed with the two, but it probably makes sense if someone is interested to have another person on the budget subcommittee. That is important, important always, but especially at this time of year.
Extremely important.
Extremely important.
Especially when you think about, you gotta think about this year and next year.
Right.
You know, as long as nobody else from this committee is leaving, you should be all right those other years, but
And
grooming
OPEB?
people. Yeah. That's,
So we'll go through,
yeah.
we haven't had time to process this properly, Mr.
We've not
Fenster.
accepted it, so.
But just in terms of process, I will reach out to the Somerset Board of Selectmen to review the process for a resignation and notify them officially and review that process, and we'll work in concert with them to make sure that that gets done correctly. And at the same time, perhaps Robin can reshare with everyone the subcommittees that you currently serve on, and we'll figure out how to
We'll set some volunteers.
fill that. That was the only
If I
new
may,
item I had.
in the meantime, and we don't have the need for this, but if a need for a SIG bank meeting happens, is that what you were thinking?
I was just thinking that.
I'm just wondering, is that something I should just reach out to you and we can figure out how to fill that?
Yeah, it is that
I'm
time
not
of year.
for the Somerset School Committee, so.
Are you saying you'd like to?
It needs to be, it really needs to be two.
It should.
two individuals.
Yes, I think we should make sure we have someone else also.
Is there anyone else who's interested in stepping into sick bank?
You gonna say yes?
I've done it many years, but I think if you're able to do it, because I'm still tied with the
Yeah.
sunset, so.
Yeah, that's fine, I can do that.
All right.
Sick leave.
Thanks, Ms. Ferreira. Ms.
Sure.
Ferreira has been volunteered. Sick bank.
Voluntold.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And the meetings are usually 8 AM Zoom, done, usually 8 AM, I think, right? Maybe 8:30,
Yes.
done fairly quickly. Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Make it work.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda, action items for future meetings. Anything in addition to what we have discussed today?
So the only thing I would like to, I hope to have some information at our next meeting, but with the class of 2025, just determining the competency determination. Now that MCAS is not a factor. So I've requested from Dr. Brailsford just how many students are we actually talking about for the class of 2025 who haven't already met the graduation requirements. And then we'll have to develop, school districts have to develop a plan. A long-term plan, but really the immediacy is for the class of 25. And we can figure out what local graduation requirements and competency determination would be in future years, but 2025 is a little bit more urgent. So we want to make sure we come up with a plan and communicate that to all of the affected students, if we even have any. I'm not even sure how many students we have in that category right now. But, so that would be something I would want to add on our January agenda to update you.
Am I correct that the Board of Ed they met today, I think?
I think they were meeting today.
I don't know. We can look to see if any, I'm sure there's crystal clear guidance on how to proceed from our friends in no longer involved in Everett, or are they not?
Desi did share some guidance last week, which I was planning to forward to you anyway. Just, it's really an FAQ list. there's some good information there, and MASS also had a legal update regarding that, but it's really, each district is up, you know, it's a local decision now, and, but we do have to have something communicated.
And I'm thinking too, just timeline, if it might make sense to dovetail some of that conversation with program of studies for next year, right, if they're gonna be, if we're gonna consider any changes in that process, so. Okay. Does anyone have any other items for future meetings? Okay. As for kindly reminding me to circle back, Mr. Machado, when you stepped out, we had come to the third item under unfinished business, which was discussion on funding for capital plan. And I think that was an item you wanted on the agenda.
It was.
So we saved it for you.
Thank you.
So if my memory serves, we're talking about, we've had a conversation at the previous meeting about funding options for the turf and the track, but recognizing that might exhaust
Yep.
things. So from there.
You know, one of the things that we had when we did our audit, we asked the auditor if we could have an outside fund, and I believe the financial team was going to look to see what the legal, if we could, but it seems with your nodding, we can't have any type of capital fund except for the current mechanism that we have right now.
An E&D and a stabilization,
That is it.
yes.
All right. And Zach?
Okay.
Which is, you know, it might be something that we may want to lobby the state, because I fear in 15 years when we need to start making improvements to this building, where, you know, we just saw how quickly all of our funds went with 2 projects, you know, so that's my only concern, because coming to the town for extra funding is going to be tougher and tougher because of all the costs that is going up. So both meaning we have a middle school that we'll be paying for, and obviously Berkeley will have their community school, so we may want to lobby our state legislators to see what they can do about that, because I think not only does Somerset Berkeley may have this issue, but so Diamond and all the other regional districts as well. So.
Sure. Well, and we know too that in any of the conversations about new construction, there are always folks who say, did you take care of the building you had, right? Which is a legitimate question, and I think we can look around, and to me this building still looks and feels very new. The folks, the staff here have taken tremendous care of it, but no matter how well you do that, right, things, systems age, roofs age, they have a lifespan, right? So I think your point is well taken. And we'll be thinking about the stabilization fund as well as we look at budget for FY25.
Yep.
Okay.
And maybe the OPEB.
And well, we won't forget about the OPEB. Okay. The next item on the agenda, this is happy financial news, donations. The next item would be to consider the acceptance of a donation for boys and girls lacrosse sticks valued at $1,200 from USA Lacrosse National Grant Program. And I know, Mr. Schoonover, if you wanted to just say about how that grant, I know we had a staff member who was instrumental in procuring that.
Sure, our boys coach, Philip Strangolagali, submitted a application to the USA Lacrosse National Program, and he received 20 lacrosse sticks, 10 boys, 10 girls sticks, and as you said, with a value of $1,200. And he said as soon as they came in, they were already, students can essentially check them out, and he said students were already checking them out so that they can begin practicing if they didn't have a stick of their own and learning the game. So congratulations to Philip for, you know, being proactive and looking for this grant and encouraging the growth of the sport here.
That is great news. So with that, I would entertain a motion to accept a donation of the Boys and Girls Lacrosse Sticks valued at $1,200 from the USA Lacrosse National Grant Program.
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Machado and seconded by Mr. Fenstermaker. Anything on discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. The next item on the agenda, it would be to consider the approval of the Zachary Dean Memorial Scholarship. Mr. Schoonover, if you have anything you want to add?
I really don't. It's more of a sort of a formality to add this scholarship to the list of scholarships that we already have, so that we can receive funds and then also disperse those funds to students each spring.
With that said, I'd entertain a motion to approve the establishment of the Zachary Dean Memorial Scholarship.
So moved?
Motion by Mr. Machado and seconded by Mr. Fenstermaker. Anything on discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. The next item on the agenda is discussion and potential action on a plaque for the tennis court and any other necessary plaques. I'm not sure who added this one. Is
I added
Mr.
this one. I was
Mr.
just
Machado?
wondering regarding, you know, obviously the Doug Chapman tennis courts, and I don't know if any of the other tracks need any, but I believe you were going to speak to Mr. Francis.
I
don't know
did.
How,
So the goal is to have the plaque installed at the beginning of the tennis season for when they kick that off.
okay, so
Yeah.
he was able to order one, does he?
I don't know if the order has been placed yet, but the plaque in the art gallery was produced by Graphic Signs. So they've already, I'm not sure how many others they've made for us, but I think that's where we're looking to have it created.
As long as we can have it done before the
Yeah.
season, that's fine. It's just, I think it's still a vinyl
Right.
banner that's,
It
you know,
is, yeah.
ripping up. so.
Right.
Was there any other, I know we had talked about for the,
Performing Arts Center as well, right? Because obviously we have,
yeah,
we're
The
trying to replicate the art gallery with the Performing Arts Center. And we have the James F. White gallery lettering, but then we also have a plaque where the exit to the parking lot is. We'd like the same for the Performing Arts Center as well. So that's the other plaque we're looking at.
Okay, thank you. Thanks to Mr. Francis for seeing that through. The next item on the agenda is to consider approval of the minutes of prior meetings. We have two sets of minutes open in executive session of November 12th, 2024. You have copies of both in your folder. Do you have any concerns about any of the minutes? Great. In that case, I would entertain a motion to accept the open and executive session minutes of November 12th, 2024 as presented.
So moved?
Motion by Mr. Machado and seconded by Mr. Fenstermaker. Anything on discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. The next item on the agenda is public input. Do we have any public input this evening? No? And then the next item on the agenda, I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of or any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements, to consider the release, redaction, and withholding of the November 12, 2024 executive session minutes, and the committee will not return to open session.
so moved.
Second?
We have a motion by Ms. Ferrera and seconded by Mr. Machado. Anything on discussion? We'll do a roll call. Ms. Solomon? Aye. Mr. Machado?
Aye.
Ms. Ferrera?
Aye.
Mr. Fenstermaker? Ms. Ashley?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Yes, thank you.